Hello guys and welcome to What the Tech episode number 49. My name is Adam Lobo.
And I'm Vernon, great to be back.
This time I will also say it's great to be back.
Yeah.
Especially in Malaysia.
Yes.
So for today's podcast episode, we are back in the studio. Last week we did it in London.
Which was nice.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I was not a fan of the quality though. Like your quality was still okay. My camera was horrible. The reason being because there was backlight and the audio, I had to use the wired ones because I was not prepared for it. At the same time, I felt like it's very important.
But honestly,
for us to
your audio sounded good.
Okay.
Maybe the visuals wasn't.
Yeah.
But then again,
I think
audio is more important than visuals. So.
But yeah, I think aesthetically, I wish it was better, but you know how it is. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in for that particular episode. And since that actually worked, so moving forward, whenever it comes to situations where we are traveling, at least we can kind of do similar to that. Speaking of which, next week is Hari Raya across the globe. So we will be skipping next week, like more for the team to have a break, because I'm not having a break because I'm actually working on the entire weekend for the Hari Raya weekend. That's how it is. But yeah, we are also planning to do a special episode 50, which we're going to give the title to Syed to actually come up with something. So we're going to be doing something like that.
No
it's
pressure,
going to be
sorry.
a bit more interactive, according to him. So we will see how that goes. For today's episode, we'll be having several things to talk about, a bit more on devices, which is also always very exciting, as opposed to only the tech news that we usually talk about. Apple's cheapest laptop, I'm sure you all know which one is that. The Nothing 4A series, the Pro, the non-Pro, and of course the Headphones A. And a return of the modular phones, which is on Abang Vernon's favorite segment, which is Who Asked For This? So, the first thing is, of course, the Nothing Phones launch event. I mentioned I was in London. The reason being because I had to go London early because of the whole war situation.
Yeah. Tell us everything about nothing.
Tell us everything about nothing. That's a very good point.
How was London?
I really loved it. Like, for me, the way they do events, like we all know how they design their smartphones, right?
Yeah.
First and foremost, being in London, the weather, the first day was a good weather because it's blue sky, but you know what they say, London weather is always gloomy. The second day was grey and gloomy. Then the third day was grey and wet. So the grey and the wet part,
right.
but the grey and wet, it's still not like Malaysian or Chongqing wet. It's not like the rain like washes the whole country like that. It is actually quite decent, meaning like it drizzles. And even though if you get your head wet, you won't get migraine like how you get it in Malaysia.
The difference is with tropical weather that you do get the sun afterwards.
Yes.
But in London, it can be
it's just gloomy
like
all the way.
weeks grey, right? It's quite,
but another thing that, before we talk about London, you know how there was lots of rumors about pickpockets and stuff like that. So obviously when I was taking my photos within London, I was using the Nothing 4A Pro to take lots of photos. Review coming soon. I noticed that when we are helping each other, because there's only 3 people who came for the event from Malaysia, one English tech person, which is us, and then there was Malay, which is Muaz Malik, and then JS from Zing Gadget. So it's only 3 of us. And for certain situations where we are helping take pictures, when someone wants to pass by, they actually waited and they were like sorry about it. Feels like Malaysia. But if you try to do that in San Francisco, they might get pissed. So I know I'm giving a huge contrast between how San Francisco is and London, but the truth and the honest opinion, London was so much better. Of course, thankfully we didn't get picked, but I did see some people actually like really using their phone tripod outside taking photos and stuff. That was something which I didn't wanted to do, especially when I was taking photos of Big Ben using the Nothing Phone 4A Pro. But overall, the atmosphere, the people, the food, I think I like London, although I'm a Liverpool fan. So speaking of London, I wanted to go and see your favorite stadium, but I didn't have the time.
Stamford Bridge.
I didn't have the time. Hardcore Chelsea fan. Speaking of this,
so with the turmoil in the Middle East, did you guys have any issues with traveling?
Oh yes, there was an issue.
Home?
I think we briefly mentioned, but since last week was a rushed one because of my laptop's battery was dying and I was outdoors. So the story is that from Unpack, when we were flying down, there was an estimated time of 1 hour arrival. So I was like, oh, okay, 1 hour. And then I waited for 1 hour. It didn't land. And I was like, why is it not landing? And then I look at the estimated time again. It says 7 hours. I'm like, there's got to be something's wrong. Then the next thing I know is that you know how you have your flight details on the plane. So you see the flight route. So I was saying this fellow is going in circles. I was like, holy mother of God, what's happening? Then we waited for a while, and then the pilot obviously made an announcement, ladies and gentlemen, this is your pilot speaking, and we just want to let you all know that the airspace has been closed due to the current events happening. So they didn't specifically say what was happening. The good thing about Emirates flights is two things. Number one, they play Premier League live on the freaking flight. Yeah, I watched the Arsenal match. Although I'm a Liverpool fan, and we watched the first half of the Liverpool match. So Emirates plays Premier League live on the plane.
That's so cool.
So that is good. The second one is that they also have breaking news. Could be, yeah. But no, this is like any Premier League.
Okay.
Any Premier League, like even the Liverpool Sunderland match they haven't played. Oh. Yeah. So then eventually another thing that also Emirates play is live news. So it had like CNN and I think CNN and CNBC, something along the lines of that. But it was news. So that's why we saw the whole attack and stuff like that. And then that's where everybody like woke up, and the whole atmosphere in the plane was super tense and panicky. Panicky was the word. For me, I'm pissed because I want to go back home, right? Then the next announcement came from the pilot. He said that we still do not know where we're going to land yet. We will let you all know after 1 hour. And after about 30 minutes to 45 minutes, he said, okay.
So at that time, we were just circling in the air.
And while it's circling, everybody's panicking, right? Because you do not know what's happening. And when you hear the word missiles, of course, there's so many things which will go through your head. Eventually, at about 45 minutes, they gave a new announcement to say that they're going to land in Munich, refuel, and come back to Dubai. So he said, okay, cool, no problem. So he's going to take another 3 more hours to go to Munich from nearby Dubai, right? As we were reaching Munich, they said, okay, here's the thing, we cannot go back to Dubai already until further announcement. So you have to land in Munich, stay there until further news. So we land, they gave us transportation, right? They gave us transportation, which was a big bus, and we went to this place which felt like it was in Ipoh, because like half the time was like old roads with no street lights. So it's like, where the hell are we going? And then we went to the hotel where the bus dropped us like so far away, and we had these big bags and we were dragging, and it was not on asphalt, it was on this rocky old school Munich town. So it's like just going through, and it was on a Saturday, right? So what happened is that it was already late, so which means that the restaurants all were closed. And on Sunday, nothing, not the brand, but nothing meaning like there is no shops open. Because he was like, yeah, welcome to Germany. Sunday, nobody works. So nothing was opened except for the Hotel Makan. So we felt like we were...
Thankfully, there's a Hotel Makan.
Yeah, but at the same time, we couldn't do anything. We couldn't go anywhere. What's the point? And we didn't get update. So it was up to day 2. That's where I realized I spoke to the family. And the family actually suggested me to actually fly to London. It wasn't my decision because I wanted to come back by hook or by crook. The original idea was for me to come back on the 1st of March, and then on the 4th, I fly to London, right? So it was getting closer, and my wife said, and my father-in-law was like, it makes more sense for you to go, but for me, like, I miss my son, I miss you, kind of thing. So eventually, when I also checked the flights from Munich to London, is 1.5 hours. Made sense for me to go there. The only thing is that nothing was so amazing to change the flights. So, which means that the flight changes was not borne by me. So nothing said, okay, no problem. I will change the flight instead from Malaysia to...
cheaper flight anyway.
It is, but I'm sure you have like your changing fee and all kind of stuff, right? So they did that. They got a separate, or maybe the cancellation, whatever. Got a separate flight. But this is a story which I didn't tell anybody. Starting from February 15 onwards, even though we are Malaysians, we don't require visa to go to the UK. But there's this ETA, electronic visa, which had to be filled in. So I was at the counter already, and he goes like, "You didn't fill up your visa." I said, "We are Malaysian. I am Malaysian. I'm flying alone because the rest of them was held back." And eventually he was like, "Oh no, you need to fill this up." I said, "Yeah, but my flight is at 12 o'clock. It's already 11:30. Can you how do you process? Can you do it for me?" He said, "No, you have to do it yourself." I negotiated with him. I said, "Look, I'm going to try to apply it now. I don't know whether you can. But once I've done it, can I come back to this counter without lining up?" And he said, "Yeah, I can." So I went to online, took a photo of my passport, took a selfie. You need a clear background. And time is of the essence here, right? And I don't want to miss this flight, right? Because there's no available flight right after that. I took the photo and all. I waited for the email. I was refreshing like a mad person. And that's where anxiety hit me, not on the plane, but that factor, because I don't want not to go to London, which means I had to go back to Munich. And the atmosphere in Munich, although I love Germany, but because of the whole situation, I didn't like it. It was very gloomy and it's very sad. So I wanted to go to London as soon as possible. Within 15 minutes, it was approved. The electronic visa. So thank you, London, thank you, UK, and thank you, Malaysia, for being a very strong passport. So I went back there and then I ran. So it's similar like Malaysia where you need to take the train.
Yeah.
But there's a big ass escalator, very long up. I walked, I ran up. I did like my own high rocks and I made it in time. So a very...
What baggage do you have to check in? Or?
Yeah, so I had to check in because I have a big baggage, but I reached there, even the baggage arrived fast. My experience in London was great. Now, after 12 minutes, let me tell you all how the experience of the London event was. Number one, it was done in an art school. Try to imagine Link of
Which part of London is it?
I have no idea, I can't remember, but we stayed in Argyle Street, which is near King's Cross Station, which is pretty central, so we can walk to the venue. They got this art school. I can't remember what it is, but you can try to visualize Linköping University those days where it's very artsy and all. So they got this very nice hall where we got it. And what's interesting is that as soon as we registered, we went in, if you all missed the Instagram stories, they had all the prototypes of all of the devices that Nothing made. From the early designs and the prototype of their earbuds, the phones, the headphones, the A series, like they had this weird design. I put it on Instagram story whereby like the original camera bump, instead of going the double one for the Nothing, the A series, they wanted to do like that, like towards the end, like which looked very weird. But it's interesting because they came up with all of this design and then the event started. And it was a very interesting way of doing it. The host walked in together with Kalpe and they were just going through, and then they went up on stage. They had like an interview conversation session with Kalpe, and then followed by all the other team members like the designer and all. And then after that was done, they had this, what's the thing called? The revolving
platform.
Like your sushi punya the
Lazy Susan.
Yeah, no, what is it called again?
Rotating table.
Not table, but it's
conveyor belt.
A conveyor belt. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, so it was like a conveyor belt kind of thing. So they put it on a industrial grey color container, and then you reveal all of the headphones A and also the Nothing Phone 4A Pro and the Nothing Phone 4A. Now, before the event, they did show, and you all saw videos that people have already posted how the design looked like. So the event was officially unveiling the Pro version, and that's why we also got the device as well. Right. Then it was good. I really like how they did everything. The launch was really, really nicely done. A very different kind of launch, very nice atmosphere, very industrial kind of design kind of thing.
How many media in total?
For global, there was a mix of Australian, there were UK, there was some on the US. Not a lot. Of course, it's not as much as what you see for Samsung's Unpacked or even Apple's Apple Park's event. I think the reason being because, it's a small venue. It's still the A series. It's not the flagship series. Now, according to Kalpe, of course, he said that there's no flagship release this year. So this probably could be their biggest event per se. But yeah, they just launched a new store in India, and then this is their second launch. And looking at things, it's very interesting how they're doing stuff, especially for their launches as well. Yeah.
And you obviously got to meet Mr. Carpe
I did, but I didn't had a single conversation this time around. I mean, it was he had easy access this time around because it was so little people. But to be completely honest, because I've met Carpe before, my head was more on the product shooting because I was alone and I wanted to make sure that I got all of the footages and I wanted to get the reel out as soon as possible. And I appreciate the great views that the reels have been getting for all three. So I didn't have a conversation with him. I said hi. He remembers me because I think this is the second time or the third time that we met. Yeah, it's 2 times in Malaysia then here. But the first time we met, we had a better conversation. So this time around, I could have, but my job was to actually shoot the devices. So I didn't have any things on.
And what's your overall opinion about the devices that were
very good question. The Nothing Phone 4A's pink is really nice. Hence, we actually requested for Nothing Malaysia to give us that pink version because it looks nice. But me being me, I always like the more muted color. So, but the pink looked and felt different. I didn't fully test out the cameras yet because I was testing the cameras on the Nothing 4A Pro, which is really good. It's very addictive because I couldn't post anything online because it's embargo. But when I held the Nothing Phone 4A Pro, it was a different experience altogether with the all metal design and stuff like that. But just going back on the Nothing Phone 4A specifically, it did feel like the 3A is just with a new color and that's about it. The glyph bar was quite interesting. Again, I know some people find it useful, but for me, since the introduction of Nothing, it has not been something which I even bother using. I still do not put my phone face down. I still put it face up, because maybe I don't use a case like Abang, you're using a case, so maybe that's why you put it down. But for me, I don't put my phone face down.
Only for the podcast. Okay. I never do this on a table.
So that is the Nothing Phone 4A. The 4A Pro has, you know how Fujifilm has this very unique color? So Nothing has the community building all these different kinds of LUTs, not for video, for photos. And Jason from Nothing Southeast Asia, or he's actually taking care of a lot of stuff. He actually said, bro, did you download the Fujifilm LUT pack for the camera?
Wow. So they emulated the Fujifilm LUT.
It looks bloody good. And Muaz, who is owner of a Fujifilm camera, I said, bro, I don't have to bring my Fuji out. I might sell it now. It's so bloody good because it gives you the colors. But here's the thing. What I found out is that when I put it in, which I'll mention in the review, is that I had to decrease the saturation to 50% less because it was too saturated. Especially, you know how London has the red color buses? Yeah. So when I took it, it was too much.
It highly depends on the film simulation that you select.
Correct. So when I used the Fuji one, I felt that the saturation was too much. So when I dialed it back, then it looked more Fuji in my opinion. Then the Nothing Phone 4A Pro felt very refreshing because it's all metal body. And then the glyph matrix is there, similar like the Phone 3. But I felt like, again, it wasn't something that I was liking. The screen is very beautiful this time around. And first impressions, I really like the phone. And I think that this could possibly be the mid-range smartphone of the year because of what it can do. It does not have the best camera specs in the world, but because of this idea of having this kind of LUTs applied and all, gone are the days where you are just going to grab an iPhone or a Samsung to take point and shoot kind of photos. If you can emulate something like a Fujifilm on a smartphone, why not? And again, I would love to show you all the photos, but the embargo, I'm going to be honest with you all, is on the 1st of April, which is very, very long time more. And
why is it so long though?
Because of Malaysia. So the embargo globally is a bit earlier. So you might see some other YouTubers are not releasing because somebody asked in the reel, when can we do the review? The review will only be out on 1st of April onwards. And don't worry, it's not going to be an April Fool. So yeah. The headphones though,
looks kind of unique.
It is unique. I didn't expect a yellow color.
I'm a bit divided.
Yeah,
with
I prefer
the pop of colors only in the middle.
The pink color, the yellow color. The yellow color, someone pointed out on YouTube. Said no, the yellow color looks like telur mata kerbau. I said, oh my God, I cannot unsee it now. It looks like sunny side up eggs.
I guess it does, yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, I told Nothing Malaysia that I would want the white because it looks clean. The black color was very glossy. I want to be honest that I only started shooting it today. I haven't wrote the script because I haven't tested the audio quality yet. Yeah. But from a design perspective, I do not like any one of the colors. I just like the white.
I mean, it is a statement.
It is.
It's a statement piece.
The black color one, what I found, if you saw the reel, was very glossy. So it does attract a lot of fingerprints as I'm doing like this. So, and when I was trying to shoot it, and all of the footage that you saw was using the iPhone to shoot. Yeah, I actually used the iPhone. I ProRes. I used Open Gate so that I can shoot vertical because I want to try it. Never tried it, and I used that neck piece thingy and super soft, and everybody was like, bro, what the hell is that? Did you get it from Amazon? I said, bro, Shopee. So what Shopee? Then I had to educate Saf what is Shopee to tell him, and also overall, I think like if I had to put in a tier, I would put the phone 4A Pro as the main thing which I was excited with. The headphones, for the sake of being new and trying to cater towards the budget market. Again, we cannot announce the price, but I can tell you, spoiler alert, in a non-spoiler way, the price is going to shock a lot of people because I do know the price, I just cannot mention. So, and then the 4A, I like the pink because it's new. The blue, white, and black, that's something that we've seen before. It looks almost the same.
Pink does look
the
good,
cameras definitely looks a bit different, the camera bump, but overall, that was my overall excitement. Now, stay tuned for us to do in-depth review of all three of the devices. So we will be doing in-depth review of all of that. So
we can talk a little bit more about Nothing later, but one of my questions was always, why do we have a Pro brand name within the mid-range segment?
That's the same question which I asked the Nothing team behind the scenes, because of course you and I or Syed or Lihud will ask these kind of questions to them, and sometimes these people don't want to answer it openly. So, but of course they give us the answer. I'm going to tell everybody openly. Their main thing, and this sound like I'm quoting them, but it is roughly what they said is that they already know they're not releasing a flagship phone.
Yeah.
When they went with this Nothing phone 4A and A series per se, they wanted to create the one where it's like a no-brainer budget version of a Nothing phone. It's like an entry to a Nothing. It's like your Pixel 10A or even your iPhone 17e.
Hence the A.
Is the A and the E and whatever. It's more like to get people to be enticed with it for the price. The 4A Pro was built since the introduction of the 3A Pro, but the 3A Pro was not available in Malaysia, so this is the first time it's available globally. The 4A Pro is to really tackle the Xiaomi T series, the FE series. Okay. So that's the reason why the Pro came about. Probably the naming scheme is a bit different.
Yeah,
maybe.
So
that's why it is confusing. But I guess the reason why they came up with this, no, I guess, but that's what they said is that.
Why wouldn't they upsell a Nothing Phone 4 standard?
Because they wanted to reduce the price. Because the price is the main factor of everyone getting a phone, right?
Okay,
the reason why the Samsung A series is the number one selling phone for all of their Samsung devices is because of that, because it's cheap in the end of the day. And if you look at the conversion price from the US, the starting price is so good, right? And it's even so comparable with the Google Pixels 10As of the world, which is so much more. At the same time, you might not be getting more. You're getting a brand new experience over here. And since they are not releasing a flagship, they decided to go with this Pro to kind of prolong a better or a unique version that is coming for the Nothing Phone 4.
In your opinion, do you believe that they won't release a flagship this year?
I believe so. I really believe so, because releasing phones every year is very tiring, not only for them but for us.
True.
To me,
And also, if it's super iterative and there's very minor changes, it becomes very boring.
It's almost like the similar story when we talk about Samsung, for example, the S26 and S25.
Yeah, exactly. We always have that.
Yeah, so the hardware is one thing, but again, it's the fact that people are just tuned to hardware changes or physical changes. Whether we can put a bunch of 20,000 different software features, people are still going to really look into that. So I think that was the main thing. And I do believe that they are not, because Kalpe did say in a recent interview that he said that he would encourage people not to go into the smartphone business because it's not a profitable business at all.
Coming from a smartphone maker.
Exactly. And this is something have been echoed by other people as well. Like, for example, you can see it very clearly. Like Apple, what is their top selling devices? What is the number one money making thing?
It is iPhone, but
like their
it's
Apple's
supported by services.
So that's why services is still number one, not the devices first, right? And then of course you have the Pro devices like your MacBook Pros and the Pro Display XDR or the Studio Display XDR. These are the things which sells more because it's the Pro kind of thing, right? So I think I agree with him to say that, it's not a profitable business, and to stay in the market, we saw what happened to Asus, we saw what happened to Nokia, we saw what happened to OnePlus, or what's happening to OnePlus.
Yep.
So I
Not
guess
quite yet.
I do believe, it's a very good question, I do believe that they won't release a 4 because it is quite tiring to be them. And I will say this last time, and I'll still say it again, that nothing should not be a smartphone company. There should be an audio company, because I tested all of the earbuds. Their earbuds quality is so good. They come up with a very good EQ system. Whether or not you are an audiophile or you're not, the audio tuning is so good. So that's why I always tell people that if you want to go Android, if you're a bit more of an audiophile, go with the nothing earbuds. Otherwise, just stick to the Galaxy buds, which is so good. But remember, there's already a lot of color in it.
In a way, the mobile phone is also the hub. So it's the central device that connects the rest of it. So they kind of still need a smartphone to kind of connect the other
And
devices.
what a better way than to have a smartphone. So what a better way to have their own smartphone.
Exactly.
And that's the reason why I think nothing doesn't bother about coming out with flagship, because if they're going to sell so much more on their A series, why bother? And again, it's the audience fatigue, the consumer fatigue of another one.
I mean,
different?
the other flip side of it is that because they're competing in the mid-range, that is the most competitive segment.
Yeah.
And that's going to be even tougher.
It's tougher to compete, but it's not as tough to create the smartphone because of the materials, because of the chipset that you're using, and because this particular segment, I still feel it all comes down to volume. And if they're going to spend not so much, the volume will increase and you will see more people using a nothing phone in Malaysia or across the world because of how affordable the device is. It's whether you want to go with the Pro A or you want to go with the non-Pro. So yeah, that's what I think of and I like this direction, and I like what they're doing it so far. Not because I like London, but I like how they're doing things. And we are starting to see nothing coming up with its own trademark style of doing things.
Yeah.
Whether people like me and you does not use the glyph interface, the glyph bar, the glyph matrix, but it's still a cool phone to have.
Yeah. And I do like their design team.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of their product videos.
It's so nice, right?
Where you have a walkthrough with the designers, the design team, and they explain the rationale behind things and their inspirations, how they develop a nothing phone. I like that, and it's always a joy to see.
It is,
and I think they're doing a good job. I think to be different, to be distinct. I mean that takes a lot of effort and resources and skills.
I like how, I don't think this is planned. So there's one interview between like one of the, I think he's a design team, but he showed Kalpe this CMF phone, which he made like a foldable. and thinking that he wants to impress Calpe, and Calpe, so what the hell is this? He said, this is the worst design I've ever seen in my life. Then he's like, oh, tough crowd.
Yeah.
So it shows that Calpe is not a people pleaser, and he doesn't, if that thing sucks, he will tell it to the face. And that's
design is a journey anyway.
It is.
You're going to have to.
But if my teammate would come up with, hey bro, check it out, I came out with a full bar. I go, good job, bro. Oh my God, it's good. You get what I mean? But Calpe is like, bro, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
So maybe I should be that kind of person. I'll be better in life. Anyway, so yeah, that is how it is. What are your thoughts before we close this nothing segment, because it's quite wild that we're talking about this, but yeah, it's fine.
I've seen the devices, and I think they're quite distinct, and I do echo you about the pink with the 4A. I do like it. I liked when I was watching the product video and they were explaining about how they achieve the kind of color tints and the extent that they went through. So yeah, I think overall 4A and 4A Pro, though I don't really agree with the branding convention.
Okay. But you get the idea behind it.
I get the idea.
Yeah.
I mean, if they really don't, are not going to come out with a flagship, then I guess that is their strategy.
So speaking of the pink color, nothing which I didn't mention is that I didn't choose the pink color variant of the Pro because it does not look like pink.
Yeah, it is. It's a little bit off.
Yeah, it's still off
red, maybe a bit pastel-y.
So and then like in certain light, it still looks silver. So and the black color variant, it's matte, but it's quite a fingerprint magnet, even though it's matte. So I obviously went with the white.
Yeah. But I think one point which I want to put across is that the reason why I am a bit of a fan of the nothing design aesthetic right now is because there's a lot of layering and there's a lot of texturing.
I agree. Yes,
there's a lot of playing with lights. Light and dark and stuff going contrast. So it's interesting. It's not like another flat slab of metal or glass that you see in other smartphones.
Final question to you is that if you're not an iPhone user and if you're all in Android, would you switch to a nothing phone because of the 4A Pro?
I think I've told you before that I was always a fan of Nothing OS, and I think that is a big draw. If you were to migrate from a system or a phone, I think the OS is important.
Yeah,
and your user experience is important, and I think Nothing delivers that through Nothing OS.
Okay,
so to move, I think it will be a pleasant experience, not something that that's friction, that has friction, and I think it's different enough, and I think they add a lot of value to Android.
Okay,
in what they do.
Would you switch from, just say you're using a S26 Ultra, would you switch to a Nothing phone because of the OS?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, that's a very interesting take.
I mean, right now I'm using a Motorola for my Android, right?
That's true. Yeah.
It's a very clean Android, but for me to switch to Nothing, if I decide to, I think it will be a pleasant experience. Not going to be
very good. After we've done our review, the phone will be yours to use then. Okay, what's the next news that we have for today?
I mean, Apple has a very, very big week as they announced themselves. 8 products.
8, I didn't even count.
And I think the biggest surprise, although I wouldn't say the surprise, we were expecting an affordable $599 USD MacBook.
Okay.
But what I think we didn't expect was the naming convention, and I didn't expect it. I thought it was going to be called MacBook, and they,
like the 12-inch MacBook. Remember that time?
Yeah, they just keep it simple. I mean, it's typical Apple. They keep it simple. MacBook for consumers, MacBook Air, and then there's MacBook Pro, right? But MacBook Neo, welcome.
Makes sense because Neo means new, so it's like the new MacBook.
Neo means one, right?
No, it's new also.
Neo means one, so it's like the first.
Also can mean new because I did the definition, but okay.
Yeah, fine. I mean, and that was a surprise to me, and I didn't find out until maybe the 11th hour of the reveal.
Yeah,
because there were no leaks about Neo, aside from that particular leak that I saw, and I think MacBook Neo is interesting because it's the first time they're putting an iPhone chip, mobile chip, into a laptop.
Which we all know has always been powerful anyway.
Yeah, we know that the M chips are based on the A chips previously.
Correct.
Kind of same platform.
Yeah.
Although in the PC space, we've seen Snapdragon laptops. We've seen.
Yes.
I mean, previously we had Intel Atom.
Oh my God.
Which was bad.
Maybe
we shouldn't talk about it.
The less we talk about it.
Yeah, the less we talk about it, the better. But yeah, an A18 Pro chip in a MacBook Neo. For Malaysians, it's 2,400 ringgit.
Yeah.
If you get it, education price is 2,000 ringgit. That's crazy value.
Holy
for a laptop that is of impeccable quality, I think, from Apple.
Correct.
And something we've not seen before.
Yeah.
At this price point.
Yeah. But from a looks perspective, there is, of course, like certain design elements carried from the previous ones. Call me crazy, but I love white color keyboard.
Yeah.
Because it reminds me of the old MacBook. My very first MacBook was white color.
The MacBook.
Yeah, the MacBook,
which was the polycarbonate white MacBook.
Yes, that was my first MacBook.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've introduced several colors. I think citrus is the most talked about right now.
Okay.
Which is nice. It also reminds me of the ZenBook range where they have different colors.
I even remember Sony Vaio. Remember?
Yeah.
They also had like
a little
different
bit
colors.
more fun.
Sony Vaio had those super dark contrast kind of colors, but they had several colors. I remember they had like this dark red color.
Yes.
I like how vibrant this is. This reminds me of the G series Mac. Those days, the iMac.
The iMac,
the G3
and the G4.
And G4, the MacBook, right? So, which is your favorite color?
I think citrus is nice. Yeah. It's different.
I like citrus too, but I don't know why the blush.
I wouldn't personally use a colorful laptop, but I think it's good. It's good for the market that's been targeted. The students.
Yeah, it is definitely.
Maybe the young executives that want to do some light work.
I like the blush though. I know it's pink, but I like the blush because I feel like there's so many interesting kind of shots that we can take with it. So yeah, if we were to get it. The thing is that we didn't get hands-on experience on it because there was no launch specifically in Malaysia yet. Hence why we haven't got our hands on the device yet. There were events going on throughout the world, one in US, one in UK, another one in Shanghai. Because I was in London, so even though London had the same event, but because I was busy with nothing, so I couldn't obviously attend the event officially. So that's why I didn't. So I do know that it does look good based on all the videos that we've seen.
Yeah.
Of course, let's talk about the specs. Other than the A18 Pro, the battery and the connectivity. So it's actually quite interesting when it comes to that as well.
It is interesting, but obviously when you offer MacBook, that we're so familiar with, a MacBook is premium. It's got the best hardware and stuff like that. Obviously, when you sell something for $599, you've got to cut some corners, right?
Yeah.
So number one, the 13-inch, it's a liquid retina display.
Yep.
Only 500 nits. 500 nits is obviously okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
With an anti-reflective coating. It's lightweight. It's about 1.1 kilos, 1.2 kilos, without a fan. So it's a very silent design, something like you see on the MacBook Air. The battery gives you about 16 hours of battery life, which is decent. Dual USB-C ports. I'm not going to tell you whether they're high-speed USB-C ports or whatever level that,
We will test
I can tell you that it's different from the MacBook Pros and the MacBook Air.
Yes, definitely different.
You don't get Wi-Fi 7, you get Wi-Fi 6E, which is fair. Which is okay.
For a device within that price.
Bluetooth 6, which is almost the latest. And you get a 1080p FaceTime camera, which is okay. I think for students, fantastic. If you
2099, holy God.
Jeez. A phone is more expensive than the MacBook Neo.
It is. And you know how I've always said I've always been a Mac person. I still prefer Final Cut Pro on a Mac compared to the iPad. So speaking of the iPad, that actually gives us to the segue of that.
Ah.
Could this be an iPad killer? Because you can actually buy a full 13-inch Mac OS laptop with an aluminum build and a built-in keyboard for 2,499. So
Fair.
why would you buy an iPad Air?
Very fair question.
The only thing is the touchscreen lah, but does everybody need a touchscreen? But what is your opinion on that? Like iPad Air versus
I think let's talk about the education space. The education space is traditionally very strong for Apple, especially in the US.
yeah.
And the iPad has been, I think, instrumental in driving that education strategy. So, but right now with this MacBook, I feel it's more of a PC killer and a Chromebook killer more so than an iPad killer. I think there is use for iPads in this space.
Yeah.
Like you say, Apple Pencil, you need to draw and
Yeah.
write notes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There is space for that. And because MacBook Neo is not a touchscreen device, I don't think it will ever be ever soon. So I think iPad is a completely separate story.
Got it.
But Chromebooks, sorry, I think you're dead.
Yeah.
Because as you know, Chromebooks are cheap, but hardware-wise, user experience-wise, performance-wise, they will never match up to what a MacBook Neo can do.
Yeah.
Or even a cheap PC laptop. I think that's probably the worst decision you can make by buying a really cheap PC laptop. It's bad.
Yeah.
It's just bad.
Yeah. Okay. When it comes to, besides the pricing, do you feel like this is going to revive, or is it going to be introducing Apple as not only a premium brand? Because you know how everybody associates Apple with being, or the people who are very expensive. Because it's true, because when I got my first Mac, I can't remember the exact price because like it's 20 over years ago, 24 years ago to be exact. I remember when I bought it, I was thinking to myself, why would I buy this when I can get the same money with a more fully spec'd out Windows laptop? But when I made the switch from Windows to Mac 24 years ago, I immediately never go back. So that's why I always tell people, once you go Mac, you never go back.
Yeah.
So now with them introducing this amazing like intro price, 2099.
Intro prices.
This is definitely going to open more students and people's eyes that, you know what, Apple can also create a budget segment with its own, besides the E, of course, right?
Yeah. It's a very good question, but I feel the question isn't about price, but it's about value. And also, is Apple downgrading itself by being not premium? But I feel the MacBook Neo is affordable, but it doesn't look cheap. It doesn't feel cheap.
You would expect it to be plastic at least.
It's
but
not built cheap.
Yeah.
So that would probably answer your question about, is Apple going to jeopardize its image as a premium a device kind of manufacturer?
I wouldn't say jeopardize, but what I would say is that it goes away from the perception of them only being the premium supplier, right? Yeah.
But you do get the premium experience. It's not about getting a cheap device.
Yeah,
but you get
correct.
the entire premium. I think a good example would be the iMac. When Steve Jobs revealed the iMac in 1997, it was polycarbonate. It was different. It was an all-in-one that people were not used to when everyone was using a beige box at home.
Yeah.
And I think it didn't look cheap.
Yeah.
It wasn't a cheap product. I mean, pricing-wise, it was affordable.
Yeah.
For a Mac.
Yeah.
But it wasn't cheap.
Yeah, it wasn't cheap.
It didn't look cheap. It wasn't built cheap.
Yeah.
And the experience wasn't a cheap experience. And Apple has built that brand over the years as a premium brand. And they're doing the same thing with here. It's the same thing with an iPhone 17e or the iPhone SE.
Yeah.
It's a cheap device, but it's not a cheap device per se.
Very good point.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And the good thing about things like MacBook Neo is that it gives consumers, especially first-time buyers, their first step into the Apple ecosystem. Because when you give a MacBook Neo, you will be looking at maybe subscribing to certain services. You are already in the suite of apps that Apple's going to give you. Your Keynote,
the Creator Studio, especially now.
The Creator Studio, as part of the package. And you want to do iCloud. You maybe want to look at Apple Music, Apple TV. You are caught in that ecosystem already. Once you buy into it, you might look at, I want to look at an iPhone. I want to buy an iPhone in the future.
Yeah.
And then as you go along as a student, you grow up, you go into the job market. I want a MacBook Air. I want a MacBook Pro.
Yeah.
And I'm going to upgrade to an iPhone 17 Pro Max. That kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's that first step. Apple is looking after the new generation of users.
Yes, exactly.
And I think there's going to be a lot of people migrating also from the PC space into the Apple ecosystem.
Could this be the start of Apple coming up with something new? Because besides the Neo, the MacBook Neo, the other huge rumor is, of course, the foldable iPhone, right? So for years, people have always been saying, for year and year, I said, Apple's not being innovative, Apple's not coming out with something new. But now they got a MacBook Neo, and if the rumored foldable comes along, that means that they are coming up with two new devices in the same year.
Well, apparently that's part of the strategy. So this part of the big week was all about affordable devices, right?
Yeah.
And then the big pro ones are going to come later in the year.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be pretty exciting.
Yep.
For the professionals market anyway.
Okay. Let's go into your segment, which is Who Asked for This? Give us a lowdown on who asked for this. This was quite interesting. We saw this in MWC.
MWC, yeah.
And thankfully, Syed has actually caught this because I saw it and I thought this would be a good segment for Vernon's segment, but it didn't register in my head. I totally forgot about it and I saw it here, so it's good. So yeah, give us a lowdown on this.
As a tech fan and tech enthusiast, I was always drawn to modular things, whether it's modular smartphones or modular laptops. If you remember Project R from Google.
I can't remember.
Yeah, it was a modular phone concept that
how
unfortunately
long ago
it failed.
was this?
Well, was it 10 years maybe?
Wait, unfortunately it failed.
Yeah.
Because it's Google.
True.
It always fails.
It's either
they'll do something halfway and then they will just I close
it's
shop.
either fail or it's perpetually in beta.
Yeah.
So
I think it didn't even release. It was just a
it was just a concept. But however, there was another manufacturer who actually did it, and it was Motorola. Motorola, if you remember, had motor mods. I loved it because you basically have the ability to extend the functionality of your smartphone by plugging into external accessories via magnets. So this company called Tecno, as you've seen in the MWC showcase there, a concept of a modular phone that kind of attempts to bring back that Project Ara dream. And it is a dream for a lot of people. So they built an ultra slim chassis which uses the modular magnetic interconnection technology. Basically, pogo pins like you've also seen in motor mods. And you'll be able to connect different modules which would give it different functionality. The base phone is incredibly thin. I mean, it's 4.99 millimeters, literally the thinnest phone in the world.
Like iPhone Air level.
They don't state what is the built-in battery size. There's no milliamp hour specs here.
The white looks good though.
Yeah, it comes in an Atom edition, which is a silver and red, and also a Moda edition, which is a dark gray.
It's officially called silver, okay lah.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Atom edition.
Yeah, okay.
And interestingly, when you plug in a module, the data doesn't transfer through the pogo pins and stuff, but through wireless. So it uses either Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, a high-speed Wi-Fi or mmWave, which is interesting.
Oh, that's interesting. It's almost like the Edelkrone device that we use for the motion control.
Yeah.
You have that, but at the same time, it uses Bluetooth to make sure. But again, we just hope that there's no connection issue.
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
the question will always be latency.
Yeah.
And especially if you're taking video.
Because if you're going to have the pogo pins, then what's the point also connecting on
Yeah,
a Bluetooth, right? So
interesting. I think it's purely for power at the moment.
Could be.
Power generation.
Could be.
So what you do get as modules, in terms of modules, they showcase a power bank, which is only 4.5 millimeter thick. And also have camera attachments, a lot like how we see camera attachments now.
Which is good.
With a telescopic lens, as well as a dedicated action camera that you can actually attach to. It's very interesting if you watch the video of the introduction and the live preview. Very, very interesting how it snaps on and all that stuff.
Lovely.
There's also obviously you cannot escape from gaming controllers, so that's something that
of
they
course.
also showcase.
They also have the camera kind of telephoto thingy, which looks like what Xiaomi did. So that is quite interesting because it's not like from the camera bump, it's more like the whole thing which comes in with the camera, which is quite interesting indeed.
Yeah.
So yeah,
but it looks like they've got quite
Yeah.
a ecosystem of modules already.
So is this something that is going to come in the market, or they just came to flex it?
They came to MWC to flex. Obviously, it's a prototype concept.
Last year's MWC, they came out with a foldable which never released, right?
But personally,
I don't think they
I think this is super interesting. I'd love to see it go commercial.
did. Yeah, I also would love to because I just like the idea, and also I like the silver and this looks really sexy.
it
For
looks
me,
very good.
design is so important. This looks like something that nothing would have made, right?
They can.
They can.
Give them some ideas.
But again, Kalpe is like enough of smartphone. He wants to do something else. Of course,
a
it got
modular headphone.
Ooh. You can change the drivers. Like, I don't want a 40 mm driver. I want to go like maybe
Exactly. I want
50
I want
or
planners.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I want open back.
Yeah.
Holy mother of God, that's a good idea.
Kalpe, if you're listening.
Uncle Pe. Okay.
So what do you think in general about
In
Tecno?
general, the thing is that my issue with Tecno is that they will show this and it's not going to come out.
Okay.
So
but if we took Tecno away and the idea itself of
the idea is
of a
amazing,
modular smartphone.
but it's more like, remember like how one of the MWCs, Sony came out with a car. MWC is becoming almost like a
It is,
CES kind of thing.
but it
Remember,
is
like
a techno-
I will just
a technology
show,
showcase.
yeah, but and this time at this point in time, I would rather have technology which is going to come out. See, like Xiaomi showed the car last year and it's on the road. You get what I mean? Then they came out with another new car, the GT series. Holy mother of God!
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But again, you see,
That
like
was wow.
you know that they're gonna bring this. Like Tecno is gonna show this, and we're gonna go like, oh my God, we would love to have it, and then no, that's what we did. Speaking of which, even like Xiaomi, remember Xiaomi had that thing which last year I also covered, where similar like this, where you put the lens which looks like a Sony AE lens, and then you put it in the middle.
Yeah.
Until now, it didn't come out. So that's where.
But that was kind of like an old idea that
but
Sony did.
I agree with what you said that MWC is a tech showcase. But I feel in year 2026, it should be whatever you show should come lah. Unless why you waste R&D time and effort and design and materials if you're not going to make it available
Well, I guess
to
that's part
users?
of the R&D process. They're supposed
No, I
to
just
come
feel
out
like
with
they just want to
different
flex only. They just want to say, we can do this, but we won't.
Let's
It's-
compare
it's
to
like
what
a-
they actually do, Tecno.
Yeah, so I just feel I like the idea, but I'm not excited because it's not going to release.
Okay.
So that's
But
the thing.
the thing that impresses me is how polished.
Yeah, it does.
the
It does.
prototypes
I would
are.
say it is definitely something which looks good, and I hope that they prove me wrong by releasing this product. So this comes down to the question: who asked for this?
I think the tech enthusiasts ask for this. I think the industry needs things like this to power them and drive them forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you ask for this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so if they release it. So my so-called potong steam is that I look at it, it looks cool, I can't wait to have it, and then they say it's not going to be available.
Let's see next year at MWC again.
They'll come up with something else, another thing which
Modular
is
car.
prototype as well. Okay, let's close the final segment, which community segment. We have 2 questions right now because we kind of missed the previous community segment. So let's go with the 2 weeks ago question, which is, would you actually switch to a feature phone? Or no, we are taking that out. Sorry. We're going to go with this question, which is 9 days ago. So if you had 5,000 ringgit to spend, you just do the conversion on USD lah, to spend on any tech product or gadget today, what would you spend it on? Let us know in the comments.
It's easy now, thanks to MacBook Neo.
That's true though. So yeah, there is the first choice is PC/laptop. So I guess this could be also a Mac. Smartphone, tablet, and smart home products. Unfortunately, as a smart home lover, that one came in second last, which is 9%. Interestingly,
not bad, ahead of tablet.
Yeah, but I guess I know why. Because you know how tablets, I feel the tablet industry is not as exciting anymore already. Right? So like, I'll be honest, Xiaomi reached out to say, would you like to review the Pad 8 Pro or something like that? I'm like, it's okay.
I think the value.
It's good. I'm not saying it's not good, but
the value proposition
after we review it, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
If they're going to give it to us, which sometimes they do, is this going to be in our glass showcase? Or Sai is going to take it and give his parents or his grandma to use it or stuff like that. My point is that last time, right, you want a tablet. Now you'll be like, yeah, tablet would be nice, but I still prefer laptop kind of thing. So, but again, like what you said earlier, there is a market for it, right? So yeah, but I guess our audiences are not a fan of tablets. They prefer smart home products. So thank you so much. Yay.
I think it's skewed by
what
is
your opinion on this particular poll? Because the PC laptop space has gone highest at 51%. Smartphone, obviously 33%. Tablet went 7%, but third is the smart home products.
I think it's pretty accurate, but I thought PC versus smartphone would be closer.
Mm-hmm.
Because honestly, the prices of smartphones have skyrocketed over the years, and they're very close to laptop prices.
Yeah.
But now with the MacBook Neo, you can buy two for 5,000.
Yeah.
Or you can buy...
Or you can buy a top specs version.
No, you can buy an iPhone 70e and the MacBook Neo.
Ooh, then you really tied into the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's a good point. Very good point.
This is almost made for Apple, this little poll.
That's true. Although I don't think he intentionally did it.
No, not because it's 9 days ago.
Yeah.
So.
No, actually now is... Okay.
What do you think? What would you spend on 5,000?
If it's 5,000 ringgit, because I'm thankfully already gotten all the tech items I need right now.
No,
it's spent
hypothetically, if you didn't have.
Okay, if I didn't have a laptop, if I didn't have a smartphone, a tablet, or smart home products, I would still go with a Mac because I can get more work done with a Mac. I think 5,000 ringgit on smart home products. Right now, smart home products are becoming very affordable.
Yeah, that's quite a lot.
Yeah. So and also it depends on where are you at. Are you at the area whereby you just like when we first came to the studio? Of course, we needed the smart home products. But smart home products is something whereby like you just buy once and that's it. You don't go like, I need to change the camera because the resolution.
Need to upgrade the chip.
Yeah, no, you don't have to. So it depends on where you are at in life. I never believed in spending a lot of money in smartphones. Hence, why we review smartphones to help you all make a purchase decision, because the most expensive smartphone may not be the best smartphone, and you can survive with even a mid-range smartphone. Probably not an entry-level phone. I still do not recommend it, but for me, mid-range phone is the best.
Nothing for a Pro.
Or even the Vivo V70, man. For a phone within that price, it's actually very good. So yeah, my vote will go with a laptop, but specifically a Mac, because I love Mac OS and I love how I can get my work done. Yeah. How about you?
Same.
Okay, got it. So let's look at the comments. We have, let me see, a total of 6 comments. Devon Portable, welcome back, buddy. He said, this might sound like buzzkill, but I'd rather use that money to invest in stocks with the... That's not the answer. Of course, I
Some
also can
people
say that.
are a little too realistic, you know.
No, he's right. But that's not the question.
Yeah, the question is not about.
You are right. But that's not, it's like me saying, with 5,000 ringgit, I got all of this, I don't want. I want to buy something else. Or I buy something for my son, for example, right? So yeah. But yeah, thank you for your comment. The Black Digger, what's up, brother? You're back. Okay, I'm going to get the MacBook Neo. There you go. For work and Windows handheld for play.
Handheld. Ooh,
Wow.
Okay.
Windows handheld. The Lenovo Legion.
Is there enough
The
budget?
Lenovo Legion is
That's not enough budget, dude.
5,000. Lenovo Legion can, right?
I think can.
Yeah.
No, it's like
I mean,
$3,000.
I guess you could get an
4 grand?
older one. Maybe like
Yeah,
an
I
MSI
guess.
Claw.
I guess so. Yeah.
But he wants to get the Neo and the Windows
Yeah.
handheld. Then cannot.
You can get a Switch
That's not Windows though.
with a bit of
But
spare
not
change.
Switch to. Switch to is bloody expensive. So.
Oh yeah, we talked about it.
So yeah, but I get where you come from. I think just for me it's the same as the
I
Mac.
think it's quite a good budget, $5,000.
HTK says probably use the money to buy RAMs. What are you planning to do with a lot of RAMs, my brother? Bot Run says OLED monitor and GPU. Another one who's a GPU. OLED monitor, probably I can endorse that. But then again,
You've got the new Studio Display.
X, they are still using mini LED. Apple is not answering it, but I think
I don't have an issue with mini LED. What's wrong with
same.
mini LED?
And also the thing is I feel like OLED for TV is fine. For monitors, right, it will cause burn-in because the type of content that you are doing. So imagine like if you're
Because
going to
you're doing
use,
work, right?
so
And
like
it's
yeah,
static.
exactly. It's a lot of static. Like when you watch football and all, that's fine. There's a maximum of 90 minutes. That's again TV. TV has a lot of motion, lots of movement. And with LG OLEDs, for example, you have this like a screensaver which you can't even turn it off, even if you want to. But if you're using a monitor, especially your taskbar, your menu and all, that can have burn-in.
You can have a permanent taskbar.
Yeah, you
which
can have a
is
permanent
useful.
taskbar. But I know now that technology is better, that OLED is not as bad when it comes to burn-in. But I think the reason why Apple went with a mini LED as opposed to OLED, because that is a potential issue. Vernon says MacBook Air M5. That's quite interesting. I didn't know you were interested in that. Why?
Because it's an M5. And it's an Air because it's, honestly, I don't think an Air needs to exist. Because the MacBook
but-
Pros are already super, super thin.
No, it didn't exist. You know why? Because for the past almost 2 years,
If you want fanless, yeah.
no,
I
it's
think
not
that's
for
the only-
fanless. It's because it's so good. For the past 2 years, I've been
It is very
traveling.
good.
I haven't been using my MacBook Pro when I travel.
it's very
I use it back at home. I mean, I use a Mac Studio.
I mean, it's slightly lighter.
Yeah, but I use a MacBook Air because if you're just going to do like reels and you're not doing a major
agree, I
heavy
agree.
editing, but even for me, it's like I edit the only thing which I struggle is space because 6K videos.
Yeah.
But in terms of performance, I have absolutely no issue.
It's a compelling buy, so I thought.
Okay,
MacBook Pro.
that's interesting. Nash J says, I would like to invest in smart home products, but I really need a PC upgrade ASAP. I really can't keep buying. Yeah, so smart home products, like I said, it's more like a one-time purchase, but I can kind of understand, like, depends also, like, for example, you buy a smart doorbell, that's almost about like 1,000 ringgit. The smart door lock is about, the very good ones is about 2,000 ringgit, so you kind of get that as well. Okay, so that would be the first community post. The second community post will be based on this particular question, which is flagship users. Would you actually switch to a budget flagship like the Pixel 10a or the or the iPhone 17e? Let us know below your thoughts about it in the comments as well. The first one is yes, if it gives me similar experience to a flagship. Very close, 28% to 27%.
Yeah,
Maybe
super close.
depends on the camera and performance. Now 45%. Oh no, 45% is the highest. No, I still prefer flagships.
Yeah.
Because it was selected there, so that's what I thought. So, do you agree on this? I mean, I wouldn't say agree, but do you
What are your
do you
thoughts?
still think that you want to still stick to a
I have a
flagship?
little bit of an issue with the term budget flagship.
Yeah, because it's technically not really budget.
Because if you say it's Pixel 10a or 17e, those are not flagship.
Okay.
But general consensus, especially on Reddit, they call it a budget flagship.
Yeah, I mean, performance-wise, maybe they kind of match actual flagships. But if you want like a challenger to a flagship, it will be like in those days it was like OnePlus, the flagship killer.
Yeah.
The original Pocophone.
Yeah, those maybe, but no, my choice is I still prefer flagships.
Okay.
Yeah. You can always buy an older flagship for cheaper. Doesn't have to be the latest and greatest.
I am going to go with the first one. Yes, if it gives me similar experience to a flagship, because like I remember when Samsung came up with the 10e, the S10e.
Yeah, it was very good.
I used that phone like it was one of my favorite phones, and I used it more than the S10 Plus that time. It was smaller, and it was, although it's technically a flagship, but it's still like a cut down version of the bigger flagship. We are living in a day whereby in year 2026, with like the Vivo V series, the FE, Xiaomi's T series, and we mentioned over and over again like the Nothing and all. If you're giving me the similar experience, I'm gonna go with a flagship.
Yeah.
Would I go out there and buy a mid-range phone compared to buying a flagship? No. I would still buy a flagship for the sake of having a flagship to review and just use it. Because one of the good things about a flagship is still, of course, the battery performance. Because usually a flagship, they'll give you the best, like for example, the Vivo X300 Pros and the Oppos of the world. But when it comes to recommending to somebody, I still think that would be the best. So until the similar experience really, like the gap between a flagship and a mid-range phone gets so close, then I will definitely go with a mid-range device if I were to buy it to myself. At this point in time, I will still get a flagship, but my vote is going to go with the first one because I have a very good inclination that it will come to that point very, very soon. Yeah. So, okay, that is your vote. Let's check out the comments. The Black Digger, what's up, brother? Welcome back. I've always been the kind of guy who always go for flagship, but considering how powerful these days mid-range and budget flagships are nowadays, I think I don't mind going for the Pixel 10a. Okay, Pixel 10a review coming soon. So that is something you can stay tuned. But thank you so much for your feedback. Nash says, honestly, flagships are getting really pricier nowadays. Agreed. So maybe switching to a more budget option is more of an economical choice. Besides, the gap between the performance of phones nowadays is getting slimmer. I agree. So you probably won't lose much even if you don't go for a flagship. Like earlier you said, with the 5,000 ringgit, you can buy a MacBook Neo. You can even buy an iPhone 17e. You're still getting a very good experience.
Yeah.
Even though it's not a flagship, right?
Yeah.
Users SF134SSKs, depending on the price in our market, I imported my Xiaomi 17 Pro for $700 USD, which is a bit cheaper than the iPhone 17e here. So I can't really say I'm switching to a budget. So this one comes together with what you just said earlier. So yeah, this is your point, right? Because technically it's not a budget phone, because price-wise, it is actually so much more expensive. But I understand what Syed tries to say here. It's more like because he puts inverted commas, because people still look at the 10A and the Pixel specifically. The Pixel and the iPhones, they still look at it as a budget, even though it's not budget. When you say budget, it's like the entry level to enter. To enter the ecosystem, because similar like Apple, of course, Pixel also has their own like bunch of stuff, right? So I think that's where he meant, and that's what you also meant as well. Bro, I think you purposely came out with the thing, right? Look, I'll be happy with a phone with a Dimensity 8450.
Wow, so specific. I was just listing down the specs.
I don't even know which generation is that, because there's too many on my head. Oh, and 4 LYT 700. Okay, maybe LYT 600.
4 LYT?
This is the LYT is the sensor. Maybe LYT 600 for the front cameras and account. Okay, bro, this one is like a... It's like X-Files. So yeah, key in that. Dr. Dej Naib 7022. iQOO 710 Turbo Plus. Yes, I know it's the iQOO 15 Ultra. We never reviewed iQOO device here. Even though it's under Vivo per se, but we never really did. But yeah, thank you so much.
Must be based in India.
Yeah, thank you so much for. Could be, all right. Could be, but yeah, appreciate the feedback. UE says, I'm having the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. I will not switch to the ridiculously overpriced new mid-range phone called the
Called the what?
S26
Ultra.
New mid-ranger phone, as it doesn't fulfill my needs for good photography. 10 times selling a photo in a good resolution.
But
good
a
quality
26 Ultra is good though.
Yeah,
I have to
so,
say.
I mean, I would
A
also strongly
a
decrease.
22 to 26 would be a
It's
good
a
upgrade.
huge upgrade.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be a huge upgrade, especially nighttime photography. So maybe he's just pissed. Maybe you're very angry. Calm down. The S26 Ultra is a very good phone. I am actually still daily driving the device. It's in my pocket, and when you know it's in my pocket with a D brand skin, so I can just do this. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, not skin, but the case. So I can tell you that once you start using the AI on the S26 Ultra, you cannot go back to any phone in the world. Victoro Tomo, welcome back also. Yes, because I need an iOS devices for my work, and the cheapest iPhone with USB-C would be sufficient, and I hate bringing lightning cable. Absolutely correct. And right now with the E series having MagSafe, that is the biggest thing that we complained about last year, right? But Yi Xuan actually commented, said, dude, you can totally snag a refurbished or used flagship from last year for the same price as a new budget phone.
Come Asia.
Then Victor came back and said, well, I don't know, man. Here, iPhone is an expensive jewelry. Even second-hand one is still very expensive. Good advice anyway. I'll check your suggestion. Let's close this thing by... You also said this earlier, that you would still recommend an older flagship to a newer flagship because of the price. Why?
Because in terms of performance, you're not going to lose too much, and
So that means like
it will meet your budget.
So that means
requirements.
like if someone like for the S22 Ultra, would you tell them don't buy the S26 Ultra, just buy the S25 Ultra?
Yeah, that could be an option.
Wow.
I mean, depending on the budget.
I don't know why I just cannot do that. I cannot recommend the
You
one
don't
generation before.
need
Is it
to
because
be at
there's
the
so
forefront all the time, because it's
but
really hard
But
to
if you're going to
keep
upgrade
up.
to something brand new, yes, you're going to save money, but it's still an old device. Some software features
But
may
we get-
not be as matured in the one
Maybe.
generation before.
Maybe.
I agree
usually
with you
it's not the case.
from a money standpoint, from a smart choice standpoint, it makes more sense. But it's in my gut to always tell people, no, I just get the latest one. Because you upgrade, I wouldn't say going from one generation to another generation. I always say no.
Yeah.
At least wait 2 generations. But if you're coming like from S22 Ultra,
5
and the
generations.
S26 is there, say, no, bro, don't buy the S26 Ultra. Not so much difference. Get the S25.
What if there was like a super deal and they were clearing stock and they'll say S25 Ultra for 50% off?
Then yeah lah. Wait, no.
This is what I'm saying.
No, I still don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Look,
'Cause you don't-
Samsung has lots of trade-in thing. I know I sound like a Samsung salesman, but I'm not. Because my point is that you can trade in your S22 Ultra and get the
doesn't work.
S26
Doesn't work.
Ultra. You already save 1 year of software updates already. Because remember that if you go with S25 Ultra, you lose 1 year software update, right? And the processing speed may not be hell of a difference, but you know how sometimes Snapdragon has this issue whereby like the more you use the phone, the slower it becomes. Like you do a Geekbench, whatever now, and then you do it in 3 hours time and then it becomes lower and lower and lower kind of thing. So imagine you buying a device. First thing you do, right? You do is you turn on the device because it's a 1 year old device, not turned on. And then first thing you know is you update to the latest software. It's like a child growing up and you feed it with a bunch of new things immediately. That's one of the reasons why my gut feeling is that, no, don't go with the older device. But I get where
Fair
you come
point.
from.
I mean, it's also a fair point.
Yeah, but I get where you come from. But again, as a friend, I will say, no, I'll just get the new one because it's a huge upgrade anyway. And yes, saving money is one thing, but with all the second-hand value that you have and all, you might as well get the latest and the greatest. And it's not ego, but at least when you pass by, you knew that you went from the S22 Ultra. When you see a sign of S26 Ultra, you say, yeah, that's my new phone. Not ego, but it's a satisfaction as a consumer. And you don't have to justify to people why you get it. You say, oh yeah, I just got it new. And people immediately know it. I'm going to go from the S22 Ultra to the S26 Ultra. So yeah, makes sense. There's a huge gap. But I understand from a smart buying purchase, that could be the way. But again, I just cannot recommend not going with the latest, but going one generation before lah. So yeah.
Fair point.
I predicted that this episode is going to be long and very interesting. And yes, indeed it was. So that actually concludes our episode. Just to let you all know that last week's episode, we released two videos, which is not last week's episode, last week's videos, which is the Vivo V70 not in-depth review, but like our first look and some picture samples. We also did our first look on the Huawei Mate 80 Pro with picture samples as well. Coming soon is bunch of in-depth reviews coming soon, and of course if you're not following us on Instagram, we do have our reels also there together with YouTube Shorts as well. And with that, we like to say Selamat Hari Rayas for all of our Muslim friends who are listening in Malaysia and across the world as well. Stay tuned for episode number 50, where we'll be doing something different this time around. So we'll be having a break, or the team will be having a break next week. My name is Adam Lobo.
My name is Vernon. See you in the next one.
Bye-bye.